Close your eyes for a second. Imagine waking up not to birdsong, but to the taste of dust in your mouth. Your lungs feel heavy. Everything you own, your photos, your furniture, your child's favorite toy, is buried under 1,000,000 tons of concrete. Now imagine the one thing you need to rebuild, cement, is completely gone. Not expensive. Not rare. Gone. No new supply has entered your land in 3 years. What do? Do you give up? No. You go to the ruins of your own home, you dig out the petrified blocks, you roast them over an open fire, and you forge new cement with your bare hands. This is not a story about war. This is a story about what humans are capable of when survival is the only option. Welcome to Gaza's survival economy. Researcher Ahmed Abu Kamar has spent years studying this phenomenon. He gave it a name, the survival economy. This isn't the economy you learned in school. There is no growth here. No profit margins. No stock market. It is the stripping away of everything non-essential until you are left with the absolute minimum required to stay alive. It is a forced evolution born from total systemic collapse. And yet, inside this nightmare, a miracle is happening. Families are finding ways to create micro-work, to put food on the table, and to rebuild, literally, from the ashes of their own destruction. But the real story isn't in the theory. It's in the faces of one family, the Abu Jabals. Meet the Abu Jabals. Ibrahim, the father. 39 years old. His back is a map of scars and his hands are cracked raw, but he'll tell you this work is rebuilding his shattered mind. Then there's Fairs. 16 years old. The driver. Every morning, he navigates a tuk-tuk through what he calls the death zones, places where the ground is so unstable it could swallow him whole at any moment. Then there's Ahmed. 13 years old. A child laborer who should be dreaming about his future, but instead hauls 70-kilogram bags of recycled dust until his legs shake. Ahmed was recently detained at a military checkpoint for 4 hours. His mother didn't know if he was alive. She is the anchor of this family, navigating an impossible trade-off every single day, her children's lost youth versus the absolute necessity of their labor. This is not a family falling apart. This is a family holding on by their fingernails. Here is how they do the impossible. 3 stages of agony. Stage 1, Extraction. Fairs scavenges petrified cement from pulverized homes. No hard hat. No safety vest. Just a teenager in a war zone, breathing dust that used to be someone's bedroom. Stage 2, Purification. They bring the blocks back to a patch of dirt next to their tent and roast them over open flames. Thick black smoke. Toxic fumes. No masks. Their lungs fill with the stench of burning chemicals. Stage 3, Refinement. The entire family gathers around a sheet to sift the toxic dust with their bare hands. The dust is sharp, it cuts their skin and works its way under their fingernails. They cough. They sweat. They keep going. This isn't a factory. It's a family saving itself, one burning, bleeding bag at a time. And here is an irony so sharp it could cut glass. Ibrahim's primary tool for crushing this cement is a hammer, but not one you'd find at a hardware store. This hammer is forged from the jagged remnants of an Israeli tank shell. Think about that. The very weapon that pulverized his neighborhood is now the tool in his hand. He is using the instruments of his own devastation to rebuild his life. Every strike of that hammer is a defiant act of reclamation. He isn't just breaking rocks. He is taking back his power, strike by strike, using the metal that was meant to break him. But here is the part that will flood you with hope. Ibrahim will tell you, straight to camera, that this dangerous, toxic, backbreaking work saved his life. After his time in detention, he carried a psychological trauma so heavy he could barely breathe. He saw 10 different doctors. He tried the pills, the therapy, the talking. Nothing worked. Nothing. But when he started this project, something shifted. The rhythm of the hammer. The heat of the fire on his face. The weight of the bags in his arms. He says, this project restored 90% of my mental health. 90%. Because purpose is the ultimate medicine. Even in hell, especially in hell, having agency is what heals a broken soul. But let's not romanticize this. Let's not turn suffering into inspiration porn. There is a brutal cost. Ahmed is 13. He should be playing soccer. He should be studying geography, learning about countries he'll never visit. Instead, his spine curves under the weight of 70-kilogram bags. His hands are calloused like a grown man's. His mother said something that will haunt me forever: these children should be receiving education and care. Unfortunately, they share this grueling work because we cannot afford to pay laborers. Read that again. They aren't using their children because they want to. They are doing it because the math of survival is simple: education or existence. They chose existence. And that choice leaves a wound in a parent's heart that may never fully heal. Let's ground this in reality. The entire family produces just 7 bags of cement per day. That's it. 7 bags to show for 12 hours of sweat, smoke, and suffering. Each bag weighs up to 70 kilograms, more than Ahmed's own body weight. Day after day, he carries himself in those bags. And the price? A single large bag can sell for $200 on the open market. That isn't profit. That is the price of desperation. People will pay anything because there is no other option. New cement hasn't entered Gaza in 3 years. 7 bags a day isn't a business plan. It's a lifeline held together by smoke and grit. To understand how broken the system is, look at the numbers. Before the war, a full bag of industrial cement cost 20 shekels, about $3. $3. Today, a single kilogram can cost up to 35 shekels, nearly $10 for 1 kilogram. This isn't inflation. This is a total economic haunting. Supply used to be standard, industrial, everywhere. Now, zero. For 3 years, a total blockade has turned a mundane building material into a mythical relic. This isn't commerce. This is alchemy. Ibrahim is turning the rubble of destruction into the hope of a floor to sleep on, one $10 kilogram at a time. But here is the cruelest twist. Cement isn't like gold. It doesn't last forever. Industrial cement has a shelf life of about 6 months. After that, it starts to degrade, to lose its strength. This material? It's been buried under rain, rubble, and ruins for 3 years. It retains only about 20% of its original strength at best. 20%. Ibrahim and his family are working 3 times harder to produce something that is 5 times weaker. And yet, they do it. Because 20% of something is infinitely better than 100% of nothing. That isn't stubbornness. That is the sheer, unyielding will to remain. You have to understand, this matters far beyond one family. Cement is the ignition key for an entire society. Without it, you cannot rebuild homes, hospitals, schools, water systems, sewage treatment. But more than that, without cement, every other skilled trade dies. Electricians need walls to wire. Plumbers need pipes to lay. Masons need blocks to stack. Carpenters need frames to build. By blocking cement, you don't just stop one building. You paralyze thousands of skilled workers. You choke off the very possibility of economic recovery. This isn't a shortage. This is a bottleneck. And it is designed to ensure that the ruins stay ruins. Let's look at the scale. According to the United Nations, nearly 80% of all buildings and infrastructure in Gaza are severely damaged or completely destroyed. 4 out of every 5 structures. Gone. Your grocery store. Your mosque. Your pharmacy. Your school. Your home. All of it. And the rubble? 60 million tons. That number is impossible to understand. So let me help you. That is enough debris to fill 10 Great Pyramids of Giza. 10 pyramids of crushed concrete, twisted metal, shattered glass, and pulverized memories. Every single ton of that mountain has to be sifted, sorted, roasted, and repurposed by human hands. By families like the Abu Jabals. By children like Ahmed. That is the weight they are carrying. That is the mountain they are climbing. The survival economy is a testament to human resilience. It is proof that people will not break, no matter how much you crush them. It is the sound of a 13-year-old hauling his own body weight. It is the heat of the fire on a father's face. It is the taste of dust in a mother's mouth as she watches her children work instead of learn. But it is also a tragic, closed loop. Without an end to systemic deprivation, without the resumption of basic supply chains, without the simple ability to import cement, all this grit, all this sacrifice, all this sweat and smoke and suffering stays trapped in the dust of destroyed homes. These families are not asking for charity. They are asking for a chance to rebuild. They have already proven they can do the impossible. Now the world needs to remove the impossible hurdles. Share this story. Because resilience should never be a permanent condition. It should be a bridge to something better. Thanks for watching. And remember, even in the rubble, where there is a will, there is always a way.